Trump confronts South African president during White House meeting, repeats genocide claims. Here we have the president of South Africa and Trump. And Trump just got word that South Africa, at least the government, the politicians, are responsible for killing white farmers? What is going on? Originally, South Africa was a Dutch and English colony. It went through apartheid, and there is still extreme racial segregation and animosity.
And I think we've done it. Believe it or not, I think we've done it. And could you just say a few words about that, my friend?
Yes. A couple of weeks ago, the two parties signed a declaration of principle in which they agreed on the way forward. And they have both submitted draft peace agreements, and we have put together one that incorporates both of their suggestions, and we've given it to them. So we're in the process of finalizing this.
Looking good, right?
Looking very good.
No, we have to thank you for even those efforts, because the African continent, particularly SADC, our Southern African Development Community, has for years been seeking to foster peace in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. So all efforts, including those from outside the continent and inside the continent, are really worthwhile. We are removing our troops from there so that peace can then prevail in that whole area. And we hope that with the support of the international community, we will really have peace in that area. It's so vital, it's so important.
Is this the father of Elon Musk? No. Errol Musk had multiple children with his stepdaughter. The more you know.
Important for the whole region.
Well, we sent our people there, and I think we did a very good job, as headed by my friend, and that was great. That was great. I mean, I'm just hearing phenomenal reports, because all I'm hearing is death, and they're chopping heads off, and it's horrible over there. And it was really brave.
No, that's not happening.
Brave of you to go there, and I really appreciate it. And it looks like that. It looks like we have something very, very substantial. We also talked about trade with them in terms of rare earth and all, but really more for the. It's like if you take a look at what.
Why is bro agreeing? I don't think he knows where he even is, bro.
We just did with Pakistan and India. We settled that whole thing, and I think I settled it through trade. We're doing a big deal with India. We're doing a big deal with Pakistan, and they said, "What are you guys doing?" You know, somebody had to be the last one to shoot, but the shooting was getting worse and worse, bigger and bigger, deeper and deeper into the countries.
The meeting will end and everything will continue as is. I don't know about that.
And we spoke to them, and I think I hate to say we got it settled, and then 2 days later, something happens, and they say it's Trump's fault. But Pakistan has got some excellent people.
He's in the principal's office, and he's about to get suspended.
And some really good, great leader. And India is my friend, Modi. And he's a
mutual friend.
Yeah, he's a great guy. And I called them both, and we just did something good. We're trying to settle Russia, Ukraine. Spoke with
Trump slop is the reason I watch the news, aka Third Eye Global. Many such cases. Welcome to the movement.
President Putin for 2.5 hours the day before yesterday. I think
it's like, why would you watch other streamers cope when you can watch us win?
Made a lot of progress, but that's a bloodbath. 5,000 people are being killed a week. 5,000 soldiers a week, not including people in cities and towns that are also.
Why doesn't he do this to Israel? That's a great question, and it would be illegal for me to answer that.
Being killed, so we're trying to help. And it doesn't affect us. It's not our people. It's not our soldiers. It's Ukraine and it's Russia. But if we can save 5,000 souls, we'll do it. We're pretty good at it. But that's a bad situation. That is a really bad situation.
Well, you'd recall when President Zelensky was coming to South Africa, that's when I spoke to you.
That's right.
We both agreed that we need to push the peace message so that there can really be peace.
Yeah, so what's going on in South Africa, bud?
And we've been involved in the Ukraine-Russia conflict for quite a while through my Minister of State Security here. We've been dealing with them, the exchange of children who were taken away, going through names and addresses and all that. So we've been invested in that whole process as well. And the moves that you're making are fully supported by us.
Yeah, they are waffling. They're glazing over the main point here.
Because we would like to see the end of that war. Yes.
Sure. I called Zelensky, and they said, he's in South Africa. I said, what the hell is he doing in South Africa?
He was talking to
We
us.
got this straight. That's a straight joke. I said, what are you doing in South Africa?
Yes.
That's a
Totally don't Google the Balfour Declaration. You think I don't know every single esoteric rabbit hole about geopolitics? Please.
strange one.
He's trying to make peace. Or we taking him. You know, we were lucky because we had the great Nelson Mandela, who taught us how to create peace, to make peace. So we were imparting some of those lessons to him, some of those learnings, and I specifically mentioned to him that this is how Nelson Mandela.
I don't know. Wait, is this where the Mandela effect comes from? Or am I retard maxing right now? Because I grew up thinking Nelson Mandela was dead. I need a fact check on this. Yeah, that's exactly where it comes from. False memory. We gotta patch that.
Taught us that when you want to have a peace in a country, do it on an unconditional basis and sit down and talk. And that's precisely what I'm sure he's going to heed.
Well, I want to see what happens with that when it's there's a lot of hatred, there's a lot of death. It's a bloodbath.
It is. It is. Unfortunately.
I get the satellite pictures of that field, of that killing field. You never saw anything like it in your life.
Is he talking about the genocide in South Africa right now? The killing fields? Or are they still talking about Russia, Ukraine?
It's horrible. It's a horrible thing that it goes on.
Oh, okay. I thought he was starting to throw some jabs out there.
But, I think we've made big progress. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President.
No, not you. Right here. He's from South Africa. Go ahead, please.
What are you expecting on the ICJ case? Are you
Elon Musk, fellow South African.
expecting South Africa to drop that? Is that what you're trying
Dreykus Duplessis, where's he at? Is he in the crowd?
On which case?
The ICJ
The International
case is
Criminal Justice.
International Criminal Court.
Belle Delphine, is she in the room?
I don't expect anything, to be honest. I really don't. I don't know. It's they've got
I want to see the art of the deal. I want to see the Trump strong arm. Give it to me.
a case. There's a lot of anger there, tremendous anger. I don't expect anything. We'll see what happens. We'll have a ruling, and who knows what the ruling is going to mean. Yeah.
On that subject of Gaza, Mr. President, are you going to be speaking to Prime Minister Netanyahu about Israel's renewed offensive there? There's been a lot of concern from European countries. The Pope has expressed concern. Are you going to be asking Prime Minister Netanyahu to tone down the offensive in Gaza to let more aid in?
Was that a question or a statement?
It's a question.
This guy, you never change.
Mr. President, decide what will it take from you
Never changes.
for you to be convinced that there's no white genocide in South Africa?
Here we go.
Well, I can answer that for the President. It's for him. No, seriously.
I'd rather have him answer.
Yeah, I'd rather answer that. It will be.
Our president will respond to you.
Yeah, let me-
Thank you, Mr. President.
It will take President Trump listening to the voices of South Africans, some of whom are his good friends, like those who are here. When we have talks between us on the around a quiet table, it will take President Trump to listen to them. I'm not going to be repeating what I've been saying. I would say if there was Afrikaner farmer genocide, I can bet you these three gentlemen would not be here, including my Minister of Agriculture. He would not be with me. So it'll take him, President Trump, listening to their stories, to their perspective. That is the answer to your question.
I don't think you like that. On sheer body language and physiognomy alone, this is not looking good, dude. This is giving pretentious, deflective. This is giving locked in.
But, Mr. President, I must say that we have, wait. We have thousands of stories talking about it.
Sure.
And we have documentaries, we have news stories, and that is Natalie here? Somebody here to turn that? I could show you.
The apex predator vibe. Yep.
A couple of things, and it has to be responded to.
Yeah, sure.
He aggroed the boss, dude. He just pulled aggro. He now has to tank Donald.
Let me see the articles, please, if you would, and turn the lights down. Turn the lights down, and just put this on. It's right behind you.
Holy shit. Is this about to get A24 cinematic, caught red-handed, Dolby Digital surround sound?
Johan.
There's nothing this parliament can do. With or without you, people are going to occupy land. We require no permission from you, from the president, from no one. We don't care. We can do whatever you want to do. Who are you to tell us whether we can occupy land or not? We are going to occupy land. Yeah. South Africa occupy land. That's who we are. We don't ever want to do. We can withdraw my membership from this useless parliament. Must never be scared to kill.
That's the president. Is it not? No, it's not. It's kind of hard to tell with the limited context we have here.
Demand that at some point there must be killing because
That's racist, Phil. I'm trying to understand here, okay? Coming at this in good faith.
the killing is part of a revolutionary act.
No, but he's a public official. Okay. So what I heard is that you cannot be afraid to kill. Let's run that back.
Must never be scared to kill. A revolution demands that at some point there must be killing because the killing is part of a revolutionary act.
Killing is part of the revolutional act.
Shoot to kill. Namaza. Kill the poor, the farmer. Kill the poor, the farmer. Pa, 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 pa.
Revolution, killing, dancing, chanting, yep. Do you think the president of South Africa had diarrhea running down his leg? Did he just poop his pants?
D-A-P-E is a white man. So these people, when you want to hit them hard, go after a white man. They feel a terrible pain because you have
Go after the white man, they bring a terrible pain.
a white man. Not because Mashaba and Soli will not be touched. They will be touched, don't worry. But we're starting with this white mess.
JD Vance probably has a shit-eating grin on right now.
We're cutting the throat of white men.
Shoot to kill. Gaza. Kill the brewer, the farmer. Kill the brewer, the farmer. Bah, bah, bah. Shoot to kill.
All right, you're watching in real time what is going on at the White House. President Trump hosting South African President Cyril.
He said, let's watch a movie real quick. Caroline, sweetheart, where's the popcorn?
Ramaphosa. And, you know, he is wanting to make a case.
Stephen Miller, I'll take my Sour Patch watermelon.
There, the President of the United States to the President of South Africa.
Just a little problematic behavior. Nothing crazy.
And he came prepared what the president would call receipts, video clips from what is going on there in South Africa.
Holy shit.
Through the lens of President Donald Trump, and likely through one of his informal advisors, which is Elon Musk, who is just, by the way, sitting off screen. So we have a chance to have somebody with us to have this conversation. The president obviously wants to have the conversation. And so the conversation is happening here on CBS News 24/7. On the ground in Johannesburg is BBC News correspondent Phumza Philani. Phumza, what do you think?
Where's his reaction? They're going to cut it short? No, hopefully not. This is the 44-minute clip. We should get back to it. Yeah. Let's get their soy breakdown, and then
the President of the United States hopes to accomplish by showing that carefully curated list of clips there.
I suppose one of the key reasons for playing that audio would be to try and substantiate these claims that he's made repeatedly that white Afrikaners here in South Africa are under siege, that they are the victims of land seizures, that they are facing a quiet genocide that the South African government is not paying attention to. These are, of course, claims that have been repeatedly denied by the South African government, by independent security forces here in the country, and some courts as well, saying there is no genocide going on, that what there is a problem within the country is crime, that it affects everyone, but that white people in South Africa are living actually more comfortably, but that the majority of black South Africans.
Well, and the president of South Africa said to the president of the United States just before the president rolled that video that his Secretary of Agriculture wouldn't be in the room if these assertions were true.
Bro, these were colonists? So I oftentimes see that criticism being thrown out there, but I don't think it really holds up when people are getting murdered. If you're born in South Africa and that's your spawn location, and your ancestors are Dutch or English settlers, I don't really see how that should dictate whether you should live or die.
Still, the president of the United States persists that those video clips make the case, and the president of the United States used the term genocide. It was sort of hard for our viewers to hear all of what was being played on the screen there at the White House. But what, as somebody who lives and works there and hears the narrative from many different points of view, what is in those video clips that the president of the United States is really trying to get the president of South Africa to hear and respond to? What's in that narrative?
So in that specific narrative of the clips that we've described as carefully curated, you hear an opposition party leader advocating for land seizures here in South Africa. This is somebody called Julius Malema, whose campaign ticket has been of advocating for land grabs, saying that the current government's process of working together, of trying to plead reconciliation between white and black South Africans is taking far too long and has continued to disenfranchise black people. President Ramaphosa, who presides over a government that is mixed race, mixed cultural, has in fact distanced himself from those views, saying this is not the way of Nelson Mandela. This is not what they advocated for when they were freeing this country back in the 1990s. That part of the reason why he's got a mixed cabinet that includes an Afrikaner minister is to show that South Africa's future is in working together. So it will not surprise me if he tries at this interaction.
Is that the actual intent of the South African government, though?
That he has with President Trump, to distance himself further from that and saying this is somebody who's in the periphery or in the fringes of South African society, that those views are not widely embraced by the majority of South Africans.
And still, the president of the United States wants the president of South Africa to be held accountable for what
He's got documents too, dude.
happens in his country, fringe or not. Talk to me about what reaction is there to the fact that Elon Musk is in the room today.
I got a good feeling this news channel is going to skip his reaction and answer that video. Let's see.
Let's listen.
This is one after another. This family was wiped out.
Let's see if we can get the in real time reaction, because a bit of a time skip after the movie. This is Forbes breaking news.
For you to be convinced that there's no genocide.
Please.
Thank you, Mr. President. So May 25th will be the celebration of Africa Day, which pretty much a lot of celebration will be taking place around the world, including here in the United States. What is your message to the entire?
So this has got to be during the movie.
Those people were all killed.
Have they told you where that is, Mr. President? No, I'd like to know where that is, because...
All right, let's go back. Hopefully.
I'm just looking.
Can we get a report from President Trump? Give us your reaction to those videos, Mr. President?
Yes, I want reaction.
Well, I think the videos are so. No.
All right, so this is right after the video.
When you look at the videos, I mean, how does it get worse? And these are people that are officials.
How is the president clueless of what is happening in his country? Spoiler alert, he's not.
They're saying that kill the white farmer and take their land. That's what it is. And I have other friends in South Africa. I have people that left. One in particular that says you can't go there. He said they want to take your land, they take your land, and they kill you. It's okay, and they say it's okay to do. Now, we're going to talk about it, but this is a tremendous, look, this is a story recent. These are all people that recently got killed.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it can get any worse. These are and you know, the men that you saw, the people that you saw in that movie, those are officials. Those are people that were in office. They had one march, they had a dance in your parliament, whatever you may call it, legislature.
In your fucking parliament bullshit, whatever fucking you call that a government? I don't know. What is that?
Clarify that.
Yeah.
Let me clarify that, because what you saw, the speeches that were being made, one, that is not government policy. We have a multi-party democracy in South Africa that allows people to express themselves, political parties to adhere to various policies, and in many cases, or in some cases, those policies do not go along with government policy. Our government policy is completely against what he was saying, even in the parliament. And they're a small minority party, which is allowed to exist in terms of our constitution.
But you do allow them to take land.
Did he hit him with the Kino escalation?
Yes, in terms of our constitution.
But you do allow...
Nah, he didn't. Close. But the message is still there.
Allow them to take land.
No.
You do allow them to take land.
Nobody can take land.
And then when they take the land, they kill the white farmer. And when they kill the white farmer, nothing happens to them.
No, there is
nothing happens to them.
There is criminality in our country. People who do get killed, unfortunately through criminal activity, are not only white people. Majority of them are black people. And we have now been utilized.
The farmers are not black.
I
don't say that's good or bad, but the farmers are not black. And the people that are being killed in large numbers, and you saw all those grave sites, and those are people that loved ones going, I guess on a Sunday morning, they told me, to pay respect to their loved ones that were killed.
Let me pull up some news articles, because I'm curious. So we got the ADL, always running defense, the racist obsession with South African white genocide. That's how you know it's true and legit. This is from 2018. That's crazy. From the whitehouse.gov website, President Trump is right about what's happening in South Africa. And here we have the actual video montage. Grok is not answering whether or not it's genocide. Please, can we get some fact checks? CNN saying it's false. South Africa doesn't satisfy genocide definition. Okay. I'm glad we're splitting hairs here. Let's keep it going.
Heads chopped off. They died violently. And, you know, I mean, we're here to talk about it, and I didn't know we'd get involved here. But I will say this, that if the news wasn't fake like NBC, which is fake news totally, one of the worst, ABC, NBC, CBS, horrible. But if they weren't fake news like this jerk.
What is the definition? You have to ask Hassan. You got to ask a leftist. Only they are allowed to define what genocide is.
That we have here. If we had real reporters, they'd be covering it. But the fake news in this country doesn't talk about that. They don't want to talk about it, but now they have to talk about it, but they won't.
I honestly don't know. I don't know if it's systemic. I don't know if it's the amount of people that need to die. I don't know if it's the pathology of how it's carried out.
This won't even be a subject.
As Adam Conover would say, it's bad. It's bad.
They'll have him talking about why did a country give a free, think of this, why did a country give an airplane to the United States Air Force? Okay? The United States, not to me, to the United States Air Force, so they could help us out, because we need an Air Force One until that's Air Force One, it's being built. 2 of them being built. But Boeing's a little bit late, unfortunately. So why did they give us a plane to the United States Air Force? That's what that idiot talks about after viewing a thing where thousands of people are dead.
I'm sorry, I don't have a plane to give you.
I wish you did. I take it. I would take it. If your country offered the United States Air Force a plane, I would take it.
Okay. But coming back to this issue, which I really would like us to talk about, and talk about it very calmly. We were taught by Nelson Mandela that whenever there are problems, people need to sit down around a table and talk about them.
Well, there are
and this is precisely what we would also like to talk about, including, of course, trade matters, investment matters. So the issues
He's pulling out the book reports.
Concern you.
Yeah, read this, nerd.
United States.
Those are all recent. Those are all deaths.
Yeah, in many ways, I mean, one should say you are a partner of
Dude, he dumped those on his lap.
South Africa, and you are raising concerns, and these are concerns that we are with.
This is a random little flavor side note, so you can get to understand me more about and how I operate. I am a slut for organized office papers. Bro, you hand me an MLA format, Times New Roman, size 12 point, 1.5 to 2 times space, document with a staple and maybe even a protective sleeve. Oh! Something about it. It's just so organized and beautiful, and just the neat stacks of thick paper. Now let's see Paul Allen's docs.
Willing to talk to you about. Let me just add quickly. You know, the criminality that we are experiencing in our country needs quite a lot of technology.
You know, I might buy an industrial-sized printer down here just so I can rattle off some documents and pull them up in real time, and then I could read them to chat. That might be the move.
Capability. And in one of our areas in South Africa, we're using US technology, which is able to, in many ways, identify where shooting.
He realized that he looked like a clown bozo holding the papers. He's like, let me take a look at those. Let's get those off your lap, Mr. President.
Things are happening and all that. And I'd like to talk about that because there is support that we can get from you and the United States to help us deal with all these acts of criminality.
You can help us stop the white genocide in South Africa.
And that is what I believe partnership is all about. And we are here as a partner so that we can help each other.
Dude, I don't think Trump is listening to a single word he's saying. I don't think he gives a flying fuck, dude.
Whenever there are challenges. So I'd like us to discuss it, and of course, outside of the...
I heard that being orderly is a fast track to fascism. You heard right. That's for sure.
Media, so that we sit down and have a really good discussion that will lead to good outcomes.
Are there any other punitive measures that could be in place should you not be satisfied that South Africa is fixing some of the...
I feel like Stephen Miller and J.D. Vance are like the guard dogs on tight leashes, but you let those leashes fly, dude, you get destroyed in the marketplace of ideas. You witness laser beams of basoning, the levels to which you... It's uncharted territory.
Very bad things, inverted commas, that you tweeted are happening.
Well, there are a lot of bad things happening in many countries, but this in particular has been very, very bad, and because of we're going to have the whole world watching in another short period of time because you have the G20, and that's a big deal. And it seems like, I want you to look good. I don't want you to look bad.
Very good.
But we have hundreds of people, thousands of people trying to come into our country because they feel they're going to be killed and their land is going to be confiscated. And you do have laws that were passed that gives you the right to confiscate land for no payment. You can take away land for no payment.
I want to clarify that because we have a constitution. Our constitution guarantees and protects the sanctity of tenure of land ownership. And that constitution protects all South Africans with regard to land ownership. However, we do say, because we've got to deal with the past, the government, and as your government also has the right to expropriate land for public use.
And you're doing that.
And we've never really gotten underway with that. And
Right here. South Africa's Expropriation Act of 2025 has been signed into law. Ramaphosa assented to the bill on January 23, 2025, officially replacing the Apartheid-era Expropriation Act of 1975. The act permits the state to expropriate land without compensation under specific circumstances deemed just and equitable and in the public interest. Signed into law, not yet commenced.
we are going to be doing so.
You're taking people's land away
we have not.
from them.
We have,
and those people, in many cases, are being executed. They're being executed. And they happen to be white.
Sit on this one, bozo. Mandela effect. The past doesn't exist. You ever think of that one?
And most of them happen to be farmers. Mm-hmm. And that's a tough situation.
Reparation card has been played. 60-second cooldown.
How do you explain that? How do you explain that? They're taking people's land away, And in many cases, those people are being executed. And in many cases, it's not the government that's doing it. It's people that kill them and then take their land, and nothing happens to them. But we have thousands of people that want to come into our country. They're also going to Australia in a smaller number. But we have thousands of people that want to come into our country, and they're white farmers, and they feel that they're going to die in South Africa, and it's a bad thing. Yeah, please.
What can South Africa...
Here's a question to ponder. Why the fuck would Trump make this up? He has nothing to gain from it. Some people think that President Trump lies about everything because he's dark triad maxing. I don't know.
What concessions would you like to see them make to improve relations with the United States? Then I have one more for President Ramaphosa afterwards.
It's not like Trump is sitting there going down a schizo rabbit hole. I mean, he's got advisors, he's got entire teams of elected officials presenting research for him, and then he has to make an executive decision based on what he's given. Hence the 50-page book report and the AMC exclusive South African genocide PowerPoint presentation.
Well, you know, we just spoke about, I got them a very, very complex machine, 150 of them. I was asked by the president if he could help, and I did that. And, you know, I have great feeling for all countries. I deal with all countries, but I have a great feeling for South Africa because I have friends. I have a couple of friends, a few friends here today. I have many friends from South Africa, but many of those friends are not, they can't go back. I have Elon is from South Africa. I don't want to get Elon involved. That's all I have to do, get him into another thing. But Elon happens to be from South Africa. This is what Elon wanted. He actually came here on a different subject, sending rockets to Mars, okay? Yes. He likes that better. He likes that subject better. That's right. But Elon is from South Africa, and I don't want to talk to him about that. I don't think it's fair to him.
That's right.
But I will say that people are fleeing South Africa for their own safety. Their land is being confiscated, and in many cases they're being killed. And that scene of, you see how many crosses they have. Those crosses, that's a dead person in every one of them. And those trucks or cars are paying their respects to all of those dead people on a Sunday morning. That's a rough thing to explain away.
As a non-American, I wonder if people in the USA are as polarized as the media portrays them, or if they are more nuanced IRL. One of the biggest things that I've learned as I've matured into early adulthood is that people are oftentimes a lot more nuanced. I mean, there is probably a normal distribution of both nuanced and people stuck in their ways in inherent polarization, but what I've found personally is that if you just talk to people and ask what they honestly think and get to the root of why they believe what they believe, you're in for some insightful, sometimes intellectual conversations. And a lot of the times you'll be closer to them, or more close than you think you initially were, in terms of political alignment or the ways in which you think about the world.
And the problem we have, and the way, you know, a correct and a fair media exposes things. But we have a very corrupt media. They won't even report this. If this were the other way around, it would be the biggest story. Now, I will say apartheid, terrible. That was the biggest story. That was reported all the time. And this is sort of the opposite of apartheid. What's happening now is never reported. Nobody knows about it. All we know is we're being inundated with people, with white farmers from South Africa. And it's a big problem. Marco Rubio was telling me he's never seen anything like it. The numbers of people that want to leave South Africa because they feel they're going to be dead very soon. Yes, please. Brian, go.
If I could just ask you a question. 72% of farmers in your country are white. If they flee, do you feel that maybe the economy could collapse? You may not have a gap to fill in those people that need to replace those farmers.
You know, I'd like my Minister of Agriculture, who is white, who comes from an opposition party to mine, who's joined my government at my invitation to address this very issue, including the question that you've just raised. John?
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Mr. President, thank you for welcoming us to the White House. I would say we have a rural safety problem in South Africa. I don't think anyone wants to candy coat that. And
we have a what?
Yeah. Mr. President, thank you for welcoming us to the White House. I would say,
dude, I literally brought a white farmer. How convenient. He's actually the head of farming in South Africa, and he happens to be white. Imagine that.
We have a rural safety problem in South Africa. I don't think anyone wants to candy coat that. And it requires a lot of effort to get on top of it. It's going to require more policing resources. It's going to require different strategy.
Where does Elon fall on this? Is he pissed off? He's got to be.
To deal with it. But certainly the majority of South Africa's commercial and smallholder farmers really do want to stay in South Africa and make it work. And I've just come from the largest agricultural show in the Southern Hemisphere with organized agriculture and farmers, and the majority of them want to stay. But they too there have a memorial to those who've died as a result of farm attacks. And as the Minister of Agriculture, it is something that I'm particularly exercised with my colleagues at police and my colleagues in the justice cluster to start making farm attacks and stock theft a priority crime. And it affects all farmers in South Africa, particularly stock theft. It has a disproportionate effect on smallholder black farmers. I also want to just say this, that the two individuals that are in that video that you've seen are both leaders of opposition minority parties in South Africa, in Mkhonto weSizwe under Mr. Zuma, and the economic freedom fighters under Mr. Malema. Now, the reason that my party, the Democratic Alliance, which has been an opposition party for over 30 years, chose to join hands with Mr. Ramaphosa's party was precisely to keep those people out of power.
Is there a red dot from a laser sight on his forehead?
We cannot have those people sitting in the union buildings making decisions.
This guy has a 7-hour term.
And that is why after 30 years of us exchanging barbs across the floor in Parliament and trying to get one over on each other, we've decided to join hands precisely to keep that lot out of government. Because the day they get in to the doors of the union buildings in South Africa or control of our Parliament, that's what you're going to see. And that is why this government, working together, needs the support of our allies around the world so that we can strengthen our hand, grow our economy, and shut the door forever on that rabble getting through the doors of the union buildings, because then South Africa's future would be...
So you denounced that type of language in the video that you saw?
Oh yes, we've always done so. As government, as my own party, we are completely opposed to that. We, in 1955, adopted a document which said South Africa belongs to all who live in it.
But why wouldn't you arrest...
Nobody is addressing why farmers are public enemy number one. I think it's because the majority of farmers in South Africa are white, and they own large swaths of land. Therefore, evil, colonizer.
Arrest that man. That man said, kill the white farmers, kill the white farmers. And then he danced, and he's dancing, and it's kill the white farmers. I think, I'm not sure, but I think if somebody got up in Parliament and started saying kill a certain group of people, he would be arrested very quickly. That man is going all over South Africa, and that's not a small party. That was a stadium that holds 100,000 people, and I hardly saw an empty seat. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of representation. And those crosses, we have dead white people, dead white farmers, mostly. And you take a look at Australia, they're being inundated, and we're being inundated with people that want to get out. And their farm is valueless.
They should call the guy from the video and put him on speakerphone.
It's valueless, and they just want to get out with their life. And this is a very serious situation. And if we had a real news or real press or media, we don't have that because they won't talk about this because they're all guys like that idiot. But if we had a real press, it would be exposed. And you know the beauty of exposing it is it's like a cleansing action. When it gets exposed,
getting called an idiot by the president there's no recovering from that.
it'll get fixed. That's when it'll get fixed. But people don't talk about it. And I'll tell you who's talking about the thousands of people that are fleeing South Africa right now.
We discussed USAID and the devastating impact the cuts are having across the African continent.
You know, it's devastating, and hopefully a lot of people are going to start spending a lot of money. And I've talked to other nations. We want them to chip in and spend money too. And we've spent a lot, and it's a tremendous problem going on in many countries. A lot of problems going on. The United States.
You are watching CBS News 24/7.
Is South Africa a big deal for America? It is and it isn't. I mean, I think historically it's a huge hot button issue. A lot of debates. They're an ally.
7, our news organization, listening to the President of the United States, calling the President of South Africa literally on the carpet there in front of the world press. Narrative setting, arguably, on something that he wants to talk about. We knew that the President of South Africa wanted to go in and talk about trade. The President said, yeah, we'll talk about trade, but... And then he wanted to talk about what he is.
Africa as a continent has huge potential as a market. Yeah, I'm fascinated with Africa. It seems like they're sitting on seemingly endless resources, but and I don't mean anything by this, but other than Mother Nature kind of cooked with the spawn location in that, correct me if I'm wrong, there's no real river systems that really connect any sort of trade. Every single predator in that continent is deadly. It's been colonized and distributed 50 times over. In terms of technological development, it can't keep up with the rest of the world, ever. There's an insane amount of corruption. It's not unified in any sense.
Is calling a potential genocide of white farmers in South Africa. And the President of the United States came with what he would argue are receipts, video clips, putting the President of South Africa on the defense, having to explain not only from his perspective, but the perspective of his Secretary of Agriculture in that area, why they believe that this is not only a problem, but also something that needs the help of the United States. Arguably bringing in Liz Cook here now. Liz, fascinating time, arguably, when we talk about fiery meetings at the White House that have fireworks and headlines that come, I would say this is a second to the last one we saw, which is President Zelensky of Ukraine. This one will be a close second where fireworks are concerned at the White House.
Africa should be the most powerful country, but the more advanced nations pillage that land, then we want to keep Africa corrupt and warring so it doesn't rival the West power. I don't know if that's true. If you were to look at history and the development of Europe and Western nations, even Asia compared to Africa, they've just always, there was no, it's not the same playing field.
A close second, that's for sure. And Trump repeatedly went after members of the media, too.
And I think a lot of it has to do with the geographic nerf that is Africa. It's a double-edged sword. It's full of resources, but it's absolutely cooked in terms of civilization building.
For questions that they were asking during that bilateral meeting. I want to get to Natalie Brand now. She is outside the building where that is happening. She's outside the White House. Natalie, another explosive meeting in...
I didn't even realize. Yeah, you referred to Africa as a country, continent.
Inside the Oval Office, you've been watching the entire thing. What stood out to you immediately?
Hi, Liz. Well, this meeting started very calmly and cordially. It was during questioning by reporters when there was this extraordinary moment of President Trump calling for his staff to play this clip, which is pushing essentially these claims of genocide and attacks on white farmers in South Africa. This clip went on for some time, and then the president of South Africa, Ramaphosa, tried to essentially respond. Take a listen to some of what he had to say.
What you saw,
I actually think we're going to...
that were being made. One, that is not government policy. We have a multi-party democracy in South Africa that allows people to express themselves, political parties to adhere to various policies, and in many cases, or in some cases, those policies do not go along with government policy. Our government policy is completely against what he was saying, even in the parliament. And they're a small minority party, which is allowed to exist.
Chatter is never going to live down the Africa country blunder.
In terms of...
It's okay, dude. We have a policy here at Third Eye Global. If you ever misspeak, you make a little oopsie, all you got to do is take a lap. That's it. Maybe physically, mentally, spiritually. Just take a lap. Okay, sit on it, but take a lap.
Constitution.
But you do allow them to take land.
Honestly, the reason why I have that policy is because one of my coaches for soccer, basketball, and lacrosse, because at my school it was mandatory to do that, 5th through 8th grade, his main coaching style was like if you piped up or had something to say or you didn't do the drill right, he just said take a lap, and it was this giant field. So a lap was like running half a mile. Take a lap.
No.
You do allow them to take land.
Nobody can
and then
take
when
land.
they take the land,
And then you'd be like, why? Why do I? And he'd be like, take another one.
they kill the white farmer.
It worked. I mean, we were cardio maxed.
And when they kill the white farmer, nothing happens to them.
No, there is
nothing happens.
There is criminality in our country. People who do get killed, unfortunately, through criminal activity, are not only white people. Majority of them are black people, and we have now
The farmers are black. The farmers are...
Has the conversation even gone anywhere? No, it's Trump asserting that South Africa is somewhat responsible, or at least turning a blind eye to the fact that there's a lot of black on white crime, specifically when it comes to farmers, and they're passing laws that allow them to take land without compensation. He's given a 50-page book report as well as a Dolby Digital surround sound 4K CCTV footage of fringe political revolutionaries calling for the death of white people, and he's just like, yo, what are we going to do about this? And this guy's saying, that's not our policy. Does this happen? Perhaps, but it happens on both sides. So is anything going to change? I don't know about that.
Are not black. I don't say that's good or bad, but the farmers are not black. And the people that are being killed in large numbers, and you saw all those grave sites, and those are people that loved ones going, I guess on a Sunday morning, they told me, to pay respect to their loved ones that were killed.
Let's see their closing statements.
You know, facing a lot of economic concerns, high unemployment. We know that a priority of his in coming here and talking to the president is trying to secure a trade deal and bring down the tariffs that were announced back in April by the White
Bro came here to talk about tariffs, and Trump said, boy, do I have to show you something.
House on South Africa. So he was hoping for an economic conversation. And again, that's really how this exchange between the two leaders started, saying, I want to reset relationships. We are trade partners. We have a history here. He even referenced critical minerals. And then once again, similar to what we saw during the infamous meeting with Zelensky, it was during the reporter questioning when things really took a turn.
Yeah, and he definitely went after members.
Farmers first.
Of the media there, as he did in this particular bilateral meeting. All right, Natalie, thank you so much for breaking that down for us. I want to
Africa is in the same boat as the Middle East. It's far too fractured, with too many corrupt countries infighting to truly get anything done, much less unify. But dude, Islam, prominent in both Middle East and Africa. Inshallah, brother, get it together.